Hello, all. This is Tim Brown here with the Week 4 assignment. I decided to do Bill Clinton's memorial prayer service address to Oklahoma City. This was a domestic terrorist attack on the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, which occurred April 19th, 1995. This act was carried out by Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols. It actually killed 168 people and injured 680. Thank you very much, Governor Keaton and Mrs. Keaton, Reverend Graham, to the families of those who have been lost and wounded, to the people of Oklahoma City who have endured so much, and the people of this wonderful state, to all of you who are here as fellow Americans. I'm honored to be here today to represent the American people. But I have to tell you, Hillary and I also come as parents, as husband and wife, as people who were your neighbors for some of the best years of our lives. Today, our nation joins you in grief. We mourn with you. We share your hope against hope that some may still survive. We thank all those who have worked so heroically to save lives and to solve this crime. Those here in Oklahoma and those who are all across this great land, and many who left their own lives to come here to work hand in hand with you. We pledge to do all we can to help you heal the injured, to rebuild this city, and to bring justice to those who did this evil. This terrible sin took the lives of our American family, innocent children in that building, only because their parents were trying to be good parents, as well as good workers. Citizens in the building going about their daily business, and many there who serve the rest of us, who work to help the elderly and the disabled, who work to support our farmers and our veterans, who work to enforce our laws and to protect us. Let us say clearly, they served us well, and we are grateful. But for so many of you, there were also neighbors and friends. You saw them at church or PTA meetings, at the civic clubs, at the ballpark. You know them in ways all the rest of America could not. And the members of the families here present who have suffered loss, though we share your grief, your pain is unimaginable. And we know that. We cannot undo it. That is God's word. Our word seems small beside the loss you have endured. But I have found a few I wanted to share today. I've received a lot of letters in these last terrible days. One stood out, and it came from a young widow and a mother of three whose own husband was murdered with over 200 other Americans when Pan Am 103 was shot down. Here's what that woman said, and I should say it unto you today. The anger you feel is valid, but you must not allow yourself to be assumed with it. The hurt you feel must not be allowed to turn into hate, but instead into the search for justice. The loss you feel must not paralyze your own lives. Instead, you must try to pay tribute to your loved ones by continuing to do all the things they left undone, thus ensuring they did not die in vain. Wise words from one who also knows. You have lost so much, but you have not lost everything. And you have certainly not lost America. For we stand with you for as many tomorrows as it takes. If ever we needed evidence of that, I could only recall the words of Governor and Mrs. Keaton. If anybody thinks that Americans are mostly mean and selfish, they ought to come to Oklahoma. If anybody thinks Americans have lost the capacity for love and caring and courage, they ought to come to Oklahoma. To all my fellow Americans beyond this hall, I say, one thing we owe those who have sacrificed is the duty to purge ourselves of the dark forces which gave rise to this evil. There are forces that threaten our commonplace, our freedom, our way of life. Let us teach our children that the God of comfort is also the God of righteousness. Those who trouble their own house will inherit the wind. Justice will prevail. Let us, our own children, know that we will stand against the forces of fear. When there is talk of hatred, let us stand up and talk against it. When there is talk of violence, let us stand up and talk against it. In the face of death, let us honor life. As St. Paul admonished us, let us not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Yesterday, Hillary and I had the privilege of speaking with some children of other federal employees. Children like those who were lost here. And one little girl said something I will never forget. She said, we should all plant trees in memory of the children. So this morning, before we got on the plane to come here at the White House, we planted that tree in honor of the children of Oklahoma. It was a dogwood with its wonderful spring flower and its deep, enduring roots. It embodies the lessons of Psalms, that the life of a good person is like a tree whose leaves does not wither. My fellow Americans, a tree takes a long time to grow, and wounds take a long time to heal. But we must begin. Those who are lost now belong to God. Someday we will be with them. But until that happens, their legacy must be our lives. Thank you all, and God bless.